Sky Sport.
Good afternoon. A beautiful sunny day at Crosby Park for top-of-the-table brothers taking on 7th place Townsville. Townsville just out of the top 6 and really need to win today, so they've got everything to play for. But firstly, let's have a look at last weekend's results. And in our TV match, a terrific performance by West, who continued their charge towards the semi-finals, 40-30 over East. Townsville, big winners over Bundaberg. The Gold Coast also comfortable over Toowoomba. Burleigh beat Brothers 24-10. Central Queensland over Cairns. Redcliffe beat North by 26-12. Wynnum victors over Logan, and Ipswich beat South. And it means that we have a competition ladder now that sees Brothers on top still, only by 2 points though, from West on 28 and Redcliffe and Gold Coast. So 3 teams equal second. Then North and Wynnum make up the top 6, and there you can see Townsville just 2 points out of the top 6. Then Burleigh coming out, led out by their captain Scott Mahon. Here they are, absolutely desperate. The reserve grade, of course, for the North Queensland Cowboys, and the North Queensland Cowboys and the Broncos will do battle next week. Today is a bit of a forerunner to that, I guess. Jimmy Armat at fullback, on the wings, Semi Kadulala and Adam Warwick, Scott Donald and Scott Mahon in the centre, so they've got some pretty handy players out there. Scott Prince, the exciting 5'8", with Danny Lambert at halfback. Scott Whiting at lock. The second row is John Manning and Lee McWilliams. And up front, Scott Azimus joined by Paul Penzini, and the hooker is Paul Desault. And there he is, the captain, Scott Mahon. Very, very experienced, wearing colours not unlike his old Parramatta club.
There's the Brothers side coming out here at Crosby Park, normally the home of Brothers Rugby Union. They're sharing it with the league boys this year. The Brothers side that sits atop of the table. Lottie Takiri, Rob Heisler wearing the number 19 on one wing, and Justin Murphy, the top try scorer, along with George Wilson on the other. Chris Walker and Terry O'Regan in the centres. Scott Maguire, the skillful Scott Maguire at 5'8", Sean Berrigan, and then a powerful, strong and skillful forward pack with Shane Walker, Brad Thompson, Damon Keating, Brett Green, Michael Jarnis and Dennis Scott. Dennis Scott is the captain, and he has led this side for the majority of the season and led them extremely well. So Brothers, as I say, with a reunion of ex-players on here today, will be keen to put their best foot forward. Tony Maxud is the referee. Looks pretty happy. If he's in a good mood, well, we might see some great football. He hasn't made a mistake yet. Certainly hasn't. And there you can see just behind him Scott Maguire loosening up somewhat, ready for the kickoff. So it's Brothers. There they are in the butcher stripes. They'll be running right to left on the screen in this first half. And the first half underway with Maguire with the long kick. And Townsville, first use of the ball, taken by Lambert and offloaded immediately to Mahon. And good run by Scott Mahon to take it across his own 20-metre line. Desault in at dummy half. And taken across field here by Jimmy Armat. The season's points for these two teams, Brothers 651 for, 304 against. Townsville have not scored quite as many. We're up to the fifth tackle there, 574 and 375 against. So Brothers with the more impressive record in for and against so far. So let's see Lambert now. He's got a couple of options, turning it nicely back inside there to Paul Pensini. And he's tackled about 35 metres out, and that is the fifth tackle. Lambert again. Scott Prince now. Grubber kick by Prince. Lottie Takiri seems to have it covered. Awkward bounce taken there by Justin Murphy for Brothers, and they come up in possession. In the first round, when these two teams met, Brothers beat Townsville by just 7 points, 39-32. Down on the sideline, Warren Boland, enjoying the sun, no doubt, today, Warren.
Well, Jerry, in the shade at the moment, but it's a lovely sunny day and the wind has dropped, so that's good news for both teams and for the spectators. Just looking at it, this really is the crunch game for Townsville, because their next two games, the last two of the season, are against Logan and Ipswich, games they'd expect to win. This is the one they have to get in the bag to get into the top 6, because the real competitor for them, Wynnum, have Toowoomba, Redcliffe and Cairns. That's a tougher run home.
Well, that kick's been charged down by Scott Prince, so he's in the clear. If he can regather this ball, difficult to regather, but he did the safe thing by making sure that he got the ball rather than trying to panic and maybe knock it on. So it means they're able to really go on the attack here, Townsville, and charging forward there goes Paul Panzini. He's played impressively, as has Scott Azimus, Scott Whiting rather, and Scott Whiting is tackled about 20 metres out from the line. Lambert again, with the dummy this time going by himself. Lambert is only about 5 metres short of the line. Great opportunity for Townsville to score the first points of the game. They've started impressively so far. Prince, the pass has gone to ground though from Scott Prince, put down there by John Manning, And as a result, the knock-on from Townsville, just when they didn't need it. They were looking great, Townsville, and Brothers will have the scrum feed.
Was a good build-up from Townsville after that charge down on the Scott Maguire kick. The pass just had to be a fairly neat little one. There was no real pressure on, but a breakdown in communication between passer and receiver.
And McAuliffe is tackled. Lambert holding up the pass, and well, Scott is there to meet him, and so was Shane Walker, and those two just absolutely crashed him to the ground. Now it's the big front rower, and that's Paul Penzini. That's the 5th tackle for Townsville too. Well, they're all on the right side. Little kick through by Lambert. Lottie Takiri takes it beautifully once more. And still going to Takiri. Can he link up with some other Brothers players out there? They're there. If he can get the pass away, would have been a chance on for Heisler if the pass had gone to him. But it didn't. And as a result, they find themselves playing the ball. This is Heisler now, running from dummy half. But there's not too much room. He's well covered by his opposite man, Semi Tajulala. Ball put down. That's certainly what Brothers didn't need. And the man who put it down was David Goodrich. So Townsville have a great chance now. 30 metres out, they'll have a scrum feed.
Really good chance. Unforced error by Brothers deep inside their own territory. Townsville have shown enough enterprise in attack to say they'll trouble Brothers here in defence. Brad Thompson coming on off the interchange. He'll come a little bit fresher. Great chance now for the Stingers. Good blind side to work with if they see fit. They do. They do go down a blind side. There's Whiting, goes from the base of the scrum, but Sean Berrigan does well to cover him there. This time, John Manning gets it to midfield. That's the 2nd tackle. They'll set up for a big play. Back on the inside, there goes McAuliffe off Desolt. That's the 3rd. Now they've got to set up on the left. There's Lambert. Lambert throws the dummy on the inside. Long pass out there to Jimmy Ahmad. Ahmad pops the pass up to Tejuala. He can't get a hold of it though. He finally goes back for it, but he has knocked it on. So both sides at fault really with making critical errors. We've got a 0-0 scoreline. There's been some good build-up, but no one's been able to put it together for the critical last play. Interesting there whether there really was a knock-on in that. Handling errors 4 apiece, so you can't get a game more even. 0-0 on the scoreboard. They both made 4 mistakes each.
Well, we were talking last night about some bars apparently have been opening for football games that are on TV and having free beer until the first point is scored from the kickoff. So if anybody is doing that this afternoon, you should get to your local club, because we've had 20 minutes of the game so far and not a point has been scored. Nice even match, certainly some good skill in it, as Brett Green takes it forward and he's tackled about 15 short of the halfway.
Well, Jerry, we've got the Brothers reunion on in the club at the moment, so if the boys are on that bed inside, I won't be able to talk to them later on.
And you'll be dirty that you weren't able to be a part of it.
I missed out on a bit of the action. Brothers!
Yes, Brothers might have a chance though. They're only 20 metres out from the line, so a little bit of urgency there. Shane Walker in a dummy half, going by himself. He'll have to do all the work. If he gets a bounce here, it's a real chance. Yes. Shane Walker, what a brilliant individual performance by the lock for Brothers, and he does put the first points on the board. No more free beers, fellas. It's 4-0.
What a kick by Walker. Gee, read that beautifully. Down a blind side, there's always a big gamble. He chipped it over the top, and you could just see it was going to, look at the dummy first. You could see from the time he kicked it, it was going to get into space, and then he just shreds his way past a couple of defenders. He's first to the ball. He was the kicker. That is a solo try if you've ever seen one, and Shane Walker, part of that famous Walker family. Ben Walker is playing first grade at the moment. There's plenty to say. These two brothers, Chris and Shane, will go on to do that. And then there's a younger fellow as well coming through. So could there be a dynasty of Walkers to go on to play for the Broncos in years to come? This fellow's got plenty of class. Shane Walker, he showed it all there.
Sure did. That was a terrific try. And coming after the fact that they'd gone for 20 minutes without scoring, neither side, and really Townsville have probably had the better of that 20 minutes. But Brothers, the team coming up with the points. So conversion attempt from Scott Maguire looks pretty good. Up go the flags. It's successful, and it's 6-0 in favour of Brothers.
Brothers made a good raid down that right-hand side, and then Shane Walker puts the kick ahead, and Adam Warwick, who just dropped back to fullback instead of Jimmy Armat, just gets the bounce going the wrong way and twisted across him. He couldn't recover. That's brilliant work by Shane Walker. We are seeing some strange bounces, though, from the ball up in that top corner. They seem to be standing up on end and going at odd angles, and I wonder whether we'll see more and more of the kicks in this game play a part.
I think Warren...
He's just a few metres short of the line now. Here go Townsville, Ian Durnaman, Lambert holds up the pass, sends it nicely, nice reverse pass there, and there you can see how close they've gotten to that line. Desault with the long pass out wide, Lambert holds it up and gets it away, and a beautiful try goes to Conrad Evans. He goes over for Townsville, and just after Brothers scored a try, Townsville have replied. Conrad Evans, one of the replacements on for Townsville, has come up with the 4-pointer.
Beautiful pass, this one from Denny Lambert, but they got a restart of the tackle count from a bomb, and then Denny Lambert goes to the line, holds, bang, into the gap comes Conrad Evans. He did it beautifully, so did Lambert. You've got to have perfect cohesion between ball carrier and receiver to know what's going on. Those passes from time to time can be called forward, but it was split-second timing, and Conrad Evans goes through to finish off. Look at Lambert get to the line and just pop it at the right moment, and the straight angle that Conrad Evans was running really foiled the sliding defence. It hadn't started in a full slide mode, but they were sort of moving from inside out. They couldn't handle the angle of the run from Conrad Evans.
Denny Lambert to convert the try in which he played a major part. He's kicked it pretty well, and up go the flags, and it's 6-all at Crosby Park between Brothers and Townsville.
Well, they got the extra 6, and that was very valuable after the kick was touched by the Brisbane players. Nice work. The wide pass puts the defence in two minds here. Lambert's pass could well have been forward, but the defence in two minds. Who was going to be the eventual receiver? They had to hold off, and finally it was Evans bursting through that hole.
And Townsville only about 10 metres out from the line. Great opportunity, even less than that they are. Now the pass out wide, here's a real chance. Well, they're just 2 or 3 metres short. The big man, Scott Azimus, is almost through, but not quite. So he's tackled just 1 or 2 metres short. Chance out wide, but he can't get through. Sammy, no try for Sammy Tajalala.
Tony Maxud's going to call somebody out here. There'll be a no-try situation.
I felt he put the ball down between the posts.
Yes.
He's going to award it. He's going to overrule the touch judge.
And I reckon he might be right too,
and
David.
I didn't think he could do this, Warren. I thought the touch judge was sole judge of fact when it came to touch.
Let's have a look. Oh, no, he's wrong.
It's a fair try, so the referee has got it right. And what he's saying here is, I've never ever seen this before. What he's saying is, I made up my mind that was a try before you adjudicated on the touch, and therefore it is a try.
But look at the foot, David. Is the foot on the line? Foot's on the line before the ball's down.
No, I think that's a Brothers. Oh, well, it is.
Yeah.
In fact, I looked at it the first time. I thought Tony Maxud had backed himself correctly, but in fact he's backed himself and made a boo-boo.
It'd be worth having another look at it, because the touch judge is the sole judge of touch. Let's have a look. Whose foot is it? Yeah, well, I think he was in touch, I'd say. Let's have another look from the head on. Tony Maxud doesn't see this. This is why the touch judge is the sole judge of touch, because he is closest to the action. Tony Maxud has overruled him.
Tony Maxud said that the corner post went before the ball. In fact, the ball was down before the corner post went, but he hasn't seen the foot on the line. Now, I don't know what the touch judge was ruling on, but this try shouldn't have been awarded.
And he also said that I'll have to wear it, and that's exactly the case. He is going to have to wear it. But it's put Townsville in front, and the conversion attempt is unsuccessful, and so it's 10-6 in favour of the Stingers.
Well,
they wanted to roll forward there to keep the pressure on. They weren't able to do it. Berrigan decides to go forward. Little grubber kick he could regain, been knocked forward again, but Jimmy Armat at the back goes straight to him. And what's he do? Runs into the nearest two guys. There's the for the half-time hooter. Been a great first half.
Certainly has. An outstanding performance from both teams, really. And at half-time, Townsville, by virtue of a controversial try, lead by 10 points to 6. We'll be back shortly with the highlights of that first half. And welcome back to Crosby Park. where it's 10-6 at half-time in favour of Townsville, and all the old boys from the brothers teams over the years have gathered here, including that old boy David Wright. There you can see quite a few of them and enjoying each other's company, and no doubt telling many a tale. There's Daniel Kosh's grandfather down there I can see as well known on ABC Radio, Daniel Kosh, and Donnie Munro. You can see Lenny Dittmar up the back there.
Paddy Maguire, who's the president of Brothers now, so it's good to see quite a few of the old faces back here. Karen in the middle there, who's now one of the officials at Brothers, so they've got quite a good roll up here for their reunion here today.
And some other games, some other important games happening in the Queensland Cup matches. West's up against South, ready to continue their winning way west, and the Gold Coast are on this winning run as well, taking on Redcliffe. Now, if Brothers are beaten today, one of those would join Brothers on top of the ladder. Ipswich against Burleigh. Should be an interesting game too. Bundaberg playing Logan. Central Queensland up against East. That'll be a good battle. Wynnum playing Toowoomba. And Norths play Cairns tomorrow afternoon at Bishop Park. So there really are some terrific games in that round of Queensland Cup matches this weekend. Great day for sitting in the sun, just soaking it all up and relaxing with a good game of footy, as no doubt you're doing at home. And this game of footy will be followed by another interesting one, a rugby union match between GPS and Easts. Easts last year's premiers, of course, and Jeeps were the premiers the year before that. So two of the champion teams from recent years. And that's our rugby union match coming up immediately after this game at 4:15 this afternoon. So every reason to stick around and stay with us and enjoy this lovely Saturday afternoon. Tony Maxsood, the man who overruled the corner try, which was, of course, given to Semi Tajalala.
I've got a clarification of that in the halftime break too, Warren, that a referee can overrule on a matter of a corner post, which is what Tony Maxsood did. And Richie Johnson, the head of the referees, who I was talking to at half-time, clarified that point. So the referee is quite entitled to overrule on the corner post issue. However, the fact that the touch judge did not indicate that he had actually gone into touch in front of the corner post allowed him to do that. The camera now tells that it was actually in touch.
And Dave, you pointed out the fact that he was waving as if it were the corner post, that
yes.
in actual fact they were both right about that issue.
Yes.
They were wrong about an issue which they didn't see.
Exactly.
Which the camera showed up the fact that the leg had gone over the sideline.
I guess the boys are just doing their best.
Yes, indeed. So kick off and Brothers through Scott. And he hits a solid wall, and he hits it pretty solidly too. So they're up 20 metres out. Here goes Shane Walker. He's had an impressive first half, Walker, coming up with that first try, and certainly played well. Well, ball's gone loose here. Chance for Townsville perhaps, and it is indeed. And their coach, John Alloway, is down on the sideline with Warren Boland.
John, they're playing well, but it's a game you must win, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Warren. We've got to come out on top if we can, yeah.
Do you see it that way? If you should lose this one, do you think you can still make the 6?
It's going to be very difficult for us. We'd then have to wait on a team like Wynnum losing.
Now, you've been using the kicking game a great deal out there to good effect.
I disagree. I don't think our kicking game's been as good as it has been in the last couple of weeks, and we're going to work on that in this half.
Certainly been plenty of kicks, though.
Yeah, there has. That's true.
So it was a tactic to use the kicking game?
Yeah, we have. We decided to kick fairly early. Brothers are a very good side, and they put you under pressure, and we decided to return the pressure.
And very nearly in here in the corner too. We might just go back to it just for a moment, Jerry.
Yes, Adam Warwick was almost there, so Townsville on the attack. Can they score? Yes, they can. Paul Pensini, has he got it down? The referee checks, and yes, he has. So I think you'll find it's Paul Pensini, the big prop forward, has come up with a try, and Townsville go further ahead by 14 points to 6.
Nice work this from Townsville. Little turn back on the inside. This is the wide play initially where Warwick goes oh so close. Adam Warwick here cuts back on the inside, gets across the try line, and then is actually driven back. He could see the line. He just gets driven back, and then Dezold comes out of the dummy half, turns it back on the inside, and good work to go low and hard there from Townsville to get across. And Pensini comes up with the points that Townsville need. They'll extend their lead to 14 points to 6. Back to Warren now with John Alway.
Well, John, you've got to be happy with that. That's a great start of the second half.
Yeah, very good start. Last time, Warren, we were on interview, it was the other way around, and the opposition had scored against us. So, yeah, that's a change.
Now, how are you deciding when you put Scott Prince in the 5/8 role and when you put Ian Doonerman there? What's your decision-making process?
Well, we were having a little bit of trouble with our kicking game. I know you said we had a lot of kicks, but they weren't going where we designed them to go. And Ian went on to change things around for a little while, and then we slotted in out to Rover, out to lock.
Now, I don't know whether you realise there's a fair bit of controversy over the Tandalala try. Did you have a view of it?
I thought it was a try. It looked pretty good to me. It looked like he got the ball down before the feet touched the sideline.
All right, thanks for joining us, John.
Thank you.
And the conversion is successful too. John Alloway there was the coach. And it's now 16-6 in favour of Townsville. So kick off. And Townsville back in possession. This is Scott Marm, their captain. He's played well today.
John down 16-6. They're playing pretty well, but they've got the job in their hands now.
It's certainly be a tough game. It was very close all first half, and that the break the Townsville have now got will make it it'll be a good effort for us to go home from here.
Brothers went close to scoring 3 or 4 times. You're right on the line a number of times, couldn't get it over the line.
And some poor ball control in that sort of zone, and maybe not enough patience putting the ball in the end goal and getting some restarts. We certainly spoke about that at half time, and certainly we'd hope for a better performance this half that way.
Now, you're probably aware there's a fair bit of controversy over the try that was scored in the corner on the replay. We don't think it should have been awarded. The Brothers boys not too happy about that?
Well, again, it wasn't addressed. There were 6 points that Townsville awarded, and we've got to get those back now, that's all.
What are the tactics for the second half?
Well, again, it'll be more ball control, but we haven't started that well. We've had a turnover in our first set of 6, and Townsville have capitalised there, so we've really got to do some things and get young Justin Murphy running like that, and we'll be in business.
And just quickly, the last few weeks, Brothers have been a little bit wobbly. What's been happening?
Well, certainly we've had a little bit of instability in our team composition. We've had some injuries and things, so it's just coming in the semi-finals now, just beginning a combination and getting a group of players all back on deck and firing, and we'll be there for show.
Okay, thanks for joining us, John.
On your Warren, thanks, bye-bye.
Jerry, that was instability in team composition. Does that mean there's been a few changes to the side of your school teachers?
Yes, it means that they've had a few injuries, simply. Beautifully put.
Penalty now for Brothers, so they've got a chance now to go back on the attack. They trail by 10, so they're looking for touch.
I guess we assume as well that John Dixon didn't play in the front row, Dave.
No, well, definitely not. No, we would have banned him if he started talking like that. Well, maybe he should have. Now Brett Green gets it up inside the 10, so Brothers a good platform to attack from. The Townsville defence in the first half was brick wall in this area of the field. Down a blind, no, out on the open to Berrigan. There's Scott Maguire. Maguire pops the pass up straight to Darren Mack. And good strong defence there from the Stingers to shut him down. Lottie Takiri, who's been a little bit quiet today with his running game. Shane Walker has scored that beautiful solo try. Can't get through on this occasion. That's the 4, so Brothers have burnt up 4. Justin Murphy comes from left to right and scores it! And scores it! Well, no, it was Chris Walker, I think. Chris Walker has scored that out of nothing. Well, we've seen 2 tries from Brothers today. Both Walker brothers have scored them with a little bit of personal brilliance. Walker, on the 5th tackle, decided something had to happen, and it was the dash that he showed from left to right. Caught Townsville unawares. Good work.
Yes, it was. There you can see he had the dash, he came through and reached out and scored the try. They've both shown, both Shane and Chris Walker, that they're prepared to take on the opposition. They are both fast and they are both strong, and they've got good palm and good step. And so, in other words, you're summing up a 100% footballer, and that's his 19th try for the season. So Chris Walker in great form. The conversion is successful, and it's all of a sudden 16-12 in favour of Townsville over Brothers, and a great ball game.
They trail by 4. Here it is again. Maguire regathers the kick, and then this is where the ball bounced around between a couple of Stingers, and Brothers back on the attack.
Yes, and they're only a couple of metres out now. Thompson has a chance back inside. Brett Green, you can see he had the ball loose but couldn't get the pass away. Here's Shane Walker pouring through. Thompson missed him and goes by himself and scores under the goal post. Thompson gets it down, and Brothers are in again, and the scores are level, with Brothers a chance to go 2 in front.
Relentless pressure from Brothers, finally paying dividends. It was interesting that the dummy half in Thompson, I think, was always going to pass. His runner had overrun him, so he thought, well, look, rather than look for somebody else, I'll take them on. The defence had stalled. You could see there he really wanted to offload to Shane Walker. Instead, when he'd overrun him, he said, well, look, the only one thing to do here is to go forward. And it's exactly what he does. Low, hard, on the angle, between players. And no better place to score it than right under the sticks.
Yes, well done, Brad Thompson, because it was definitely the move was that Shane Walker was to take it forward. He went to pass it to him, could see he'd gone just too far. Then they both thought about it. And then he just said, well, one thing to do, go low, and he did it. And the extras are added by Scott Maguire, and it's now Brothers 18, Townsville 16.
Townsville a bit unlucky with that accidental offside, but you can't blame the defence either for thinking Shane Walker would be the man, and Paul Desault there just started to fade away, ready to tackle Shane Walker. Instead, Thompson went for it, and he goes through Nick Patterson, who couldn't stop him right on the goal line. Good work by Brad Thompson to adjust and dive over.
Well, the next 26 minutes are going to be absolutely vital for the Townsville Stingers, because they're now behind and in danger of losing this game, and if they lose this game, it would seem almost impossible for them to make the semi-finals. So they've really got to lift now. Brothers have lifted, and it's taken forward now by Damon Keating, just short of his own 20-metre line. Thompson, Green, running well onto the ball. They look like they're going to keep it going to the left. They do indeed. And this is a good strong run now by Grant Vivers, and he has lost it. Ian Doonerman coming up with it for the Cowboys. They're 40 metres out, so an attacking opportunity for the Cowboys. Jimmy Armat decides to have a bit of a run, but he can't step away from Darren Mapp. Getting in there very quickly is Conrad Evans, and he's taken up to within 25 metres of the line. Desault and Azimus. Azimus scored his first try of the season last week. Can he get them close enough? Now Lambert holds up the pass, slips the pass away too, and here's a chance. Good work there by Warwick. He's tackled just 5 or 6 metres short of the line. Scott Marner, dummy half. They're well spread. Doonerman, will he try the long pass? Yes, he does. Taken by Evans, but Evans is by himself now and is tackled 25 metres out, and that's the 5th tackle. Desault, a dummy half. Across field, Ian Doonerman. Well, he looks like he's limping. Doonerman gets a pass to Mahon. The grubber kick. Oh, beautifully picked up by Lottie Takiri. Right on his goal line. And he's away, Takiri. He's got players outside him. I don't know that he always looks for his support. And he's tackled 10 metres out from his own line.
He's certainly a player that'll run as far as he possibly can, Takiri. But again, Townsville threw everything at Brothers there, but they held on pretty well. Jerry, as you said, it did. Here's Justin Murphy into a bit of space, tries it in and away, and Warwick comes back to catch him before he gets across the 40-metre line. And really, Doonerman does look like he's playing on one leg, and he's actually been taken off the field. Shane Walker up to Chris, and that is the halfway line. They've got it to the halfway on the 5th tackle. Down a blind side, Danny Thompson. They hold off him. He just knocks it down. Jimmy Armat in good position. Tries to get away from Thompson. Slips almost past him. But Grant Vivers there to make the tackle. He plays it quickly. Denny Lambert tries to get away, but the defence again manages to cover. Azimus. Brothers defence moving up quickly. They realise it's a real arm wrestle now. Only 2 points in it. Desault goes straight through. Good work. That's the 4th. They've got a chance now to spread it. They've still got 2 tackles to use, but they go up the middle again. Azimus drops it out the back. Picks up there by Manning. That'll be the last now. So really they've lost an attacking opportunity on that play. And Lottie Takiri thought for a moment about letting it go, but realised it was close enough to him. Takiri.
Yes, in the end, that wasn't a bad kick from Danny Lambert, because he didn't have a lot of time to get the kick in, and so he was able to send Takiri back fairly close to his own line. Thompson into dummy half. Well, he doesn't end up a dummy half. Instead, it's Damon Keating who takes it within 10 of the halfway. 18-16, 2 points in the game. Brett Green. Well, good defence from Townsville. Moving up very solidly there. Scott Whiting to go around his legs, and Scott Azimus over the top. The 2 Scots really stung that time, and Brothers are 5 short of the halfway line. Thompson on the blind side. Maguire with a little grubber kick meant for Justin Murphy if he gets the right bounce, but instead the bounce goes to Warwick, and Adam Warwick is caught 20 short of halfway.
It was a dangerous tactic to kick short from around about that area of the park, because it allows your opposition, if they can regather, to go straight back on the attack.
And that's what they're doing now as the pass goes across field. and Scott Whiting through halfway, keeps on going, and his tackle now 8 metres in Brothers territory. Jimmy Armat ready to really go on the attack. Mann, good strong run. He's clear of the defence. He's got a support player inside, and that's McAuliffe, and McAuliffe scores for Townsville, and they are back in front. Oh, what a ball game. And with 20 minutes to go, anyone could win this game. The Stingers are in front by 2, 20-18.
A month ago, we saw Jimmy Armat throw more dummies against Burley than I've ever seen before. I thought he was going to throw another one. Just as well he did, and he goes across the face. You better give it to your captain, and that's what he did. Scott Mann up the middle, breaks the cover defence. Back on the inside, McAuliffe. The gap was there between players for the passer, and McAuliffe goes through to score the try. The Townsville Stingers are back in front, but nice work from Armat. Just lopes across the face, turns it back on the inside. I think it was Thompson who couldn't make the tackle. I'm not 100% sure. And then McAuliffe, who's looked impressive having come off the bench, gets across to score it. Armat, you go across, you turn it back on the inside.
That's a great run from Mann, isn't it? The way he's striding out, and he uses the left arm as a fend, and then looks for the support and sent it back inside to big Clint McAuliffe.
And right down the middle, they've got the maximums out of that. They've now got the lead back well and truly, 22-18.
They needed this try. Brothers were starting to get on top in the game, but Armat just baiting across field. Lovely angle run by Mann, straightens up. Brad Thompson couldn't make that tackle. Away goes Scott Mann. Tremendous backing up by Clint McAuliffe inside. He followed Scott Mann all the way, and that's a very valuable try to the Stingers.
Yeah, well and truly back in it, as you say, Warren. Brothers appear to be getting on top, but this has been a game of to and fro. Two very good sides. Awkward to let that one bounce.
David, you just have to get your kicking game so right, don't you? A while back we saw the Stingers kick out on the full. It wasn't long before Brothers scored a try. A moment back here we saw Brothers try the short kick through. The Stingers come up with the ball, and within that set they score. Yeah,
it's really a case of when you give the possession back to the opposition, which under the modern day rules, which have been in for a long time now anyway, the 6 tackles, then you must give it back to them as far away from the try line as you can. Desault this time gets it out of dummy half. They've done well to get it to there on the 5th. A long kick now. They want to get it in the pocket. And Prince just chips this one. He wants it to sit, and it will. Lottie Takiri under a bit of pressure. He's got players there. Tadulala tries to make the tackle, and finally he comes back to make it.
And there we have a very good kick by Scott Prince, who's going to have to do it now with Ian Doonerman off the field.
And it will cause Brothers to burn up tackles, because it takes a while for players to get back into position to do the running. They are finally back there now, but this is the 3rd tackle, and Brothers have only got it to 12 metres out. So Townsville getting Brothers on the roundabout. There's Vivas. That's a strong run to get it to the 20. That's 4 though. They burn up 4. They want to get out of here. Green, this is a better ruck. That gives them 15 metres. Gives them, he's lost it. Play on, but he's not going to call a recount. I thought it had been touched. And Brothers are screaming that they thought it had been too. Dennis Scott, the skipper. Sean Berrigan forced to kick because it's the last. Armat across to cover, and will get it on his own 30.
Well, this is now, I mentioned earlier how important it was for Townsville as Armat goes into the clear. He's got support in Mann. Mann takes the ball and away he goes. Green won't catch him, and Scott Mann, the captain, goes over and scores just after setting up a try. Fantastic work by the Stingers, and have they ever stung now? They've gone out to a 26-18 lead.
Armat this time onto his skipper again, and Scott Mann. He didn't need any support. He was going to go all the way. Look at this fella. He was on the ground. He got up. He broke away from tackles. Brothers hadn't got a straight line for the kick chase, and back on the inside to Scott Mann. Brett Green wasn't going to catch him, but he does force him to stay out wide as possible. And from the return of the kick chase, Brothers were trapped inside their own territory after Townsville had put them deep inside their own 10-metre line, and Armat on his kick return finds his skipper again back on the inside, and Scott Mann brings it around to put it about 5 metres from the touchline. This is where it all started. The kick downfield from Berrigan. Armat finally got a hold of it. You must have a straight line here, and Brothers had enough defenders. They had plenty, but the little agile Jimmy Armat goes through off the ground. He ran again, back on the inside to the skipper. And Scott Mann goes away to score this one after setting up the previous, but you can put them both down to Jimmy Armat.
And I'm just thinking the number of games, that I know we've mentioned this before, but a person, if he'd had any sense this year, he would have been putting money on the team on the Saturday afternoon, which is most desperate.
The one that had to win.
In the most desperate situation, I mean, on the competition ladder, because invariably they've been the ones who've come up with some good wins, and in time some upset wins, as this would be if Townsville are able to hold on and win it. The kick looks pretty good. It's successful, and 10 points the difference now. It's 28-18 in favour of the Stingers.
Full credit to Jimmy Ahmad here, because there was nothing wrong with Berrigan's kick. It was okay, but he just makes them miss. There's plenty of defenders there. He makes two miss, another grab misses. Really, that should have been made, that tackle, but here's Jimmy Ahmad, and Scott Mann striding down that right-hand side puts them right in command here, all of a sudden, Townsville Stingers.
Yes, they are, and they'll probably lift their confidence level too. And it's taken forward there by Conrad Evans, who's tackled on his own 20-metre line. Lambert with the offload. And they're up to within about 20 of the halfway. 15 minutes to go. 28 points to 18 in favour of the team in blue, the Townsville Stingers. And I'm sure everybody up in Townsville will want to see them make it through to the semi-finals, because the Cowboys in a similar situation. They've got Auckland, of course, as the ball is taken to the halfway line. Back now to Scott Prince for the kick. See how this one goes. Lottie Takiri on his 10. By himself, able to push off one. Can he find some sort of a gap? Not really. Thompson. And this is Damon Keating. Well taken. He's done a lot of good tackling, Scott Whiting. Been very effective in defence. Shane Walker has been very effective in attack. Takes it up to the halfway line. Thompson. And now Sean Berrigan, a good run. Can he get rid of the ball? Oh, intercepted there by Semi. And Semi Tajalala not able to regather it, and so losing it forward. Otherwise, he might have been away.
And if he didn't get that touch on it, Brothers could have been away as well. The game is not over yet. Brothers are capable of scoring the 10 points required in the 14 or so minutes, and we saw that passage of play there, that they stormed up the field. So there's a few players putting their hand up in this Brothers side to try and fight back. Maguire has got Terry O'Regan in a bit of space. O'Regan looks for support, decides not to pass, and I believe the decision was the correct one. Lottie Takiri down a blind side. One-on-one is difficult. Quick pay, hands out to Murphy. He's a flyer, cover defence, comes across, back on the inside. He's held. That's only the second, and Brothers in a good position. Maguire, pass out here to Berrigan. Berrigan throws the dummy. Tenjalala comes in to make a big tackle, and it was one that had to be made. Brothers on the outside, picked up beautifully. I think that's Hilt. There's Berrigan. Pass back up there. Nice work from Brothers to keep it alive. That's Darren Mapp in midfield. Defence set from Townsville. Brothers will need to break a tackle to get there. Berrigan, quick defence from Donald. That's been touched. That should be offside for Townsville. He's decided he'll hold the advantage. And Brothers now with another chance to put points on. They can bring the mark back, and that's exactly what they've done. That's the quick pass out here to Dennis Scott. He tries to straighten up, but the defence quickly to him. Three players got to him. Townsville aren't going to let him in easy. Down the blind side, Lottie Takiri goes himself. Lottie Takiri, he's over. He's over. Takiri scored it. Another brilliant solo effort has got Lottie Takiri. When these fellows decide to run, and the dash that they can show on a one-on-one situation, they're very hard to handle.
Yes, and of course he had Justin Murphy outside him too as another option, but here we see Lottie Takiri going towards the corner, full of determination. It looked like he might have been held up there, but he was able to get the ball down just as Jimmy Ahmad arrived to try and help. Here we see Lottie Takiri looming. Now he drew his winger Adam Warwick in, and it was perhaps then that he might have sent it to Murphy, but he decided to keep going himself and try to use his strength to get across, and it was Scott Prince who got his hand onto the ball but couldn't hold him up.
Nice work from Takiri, because he didn't just run on an angle straight across field. He ran forward initially to hold the defence, and then he cut away from them, having stood them up.
Scott Maguire, perfect record so far. This is a tough one, no goal. But boy, we've got a game on our hands, 28-22 in favour of Townsville.
Townsville don't want to draw. They've had 2 draws already this year.
Beautiful work by Lottie Takiri. Look at this step, or a shuffle off his foot, and then the acceleration. Just too big and fast for Scott Prince in defence. But look at that score, and we reflect again on that controversial try in the first half, which went Townsville's way. I wonder at the end of the day just how important it's going to be.
Well, I think it's going to be so important. I can't see this game being more than a few points in it. Townsville, as we've said, 1 point wouldn't be too bad for them. It'd be better than none, of course, but they really need the big points.
Okay, now after this game, depending, I mean, no matter which way it goes, when you think who's going to win the Queensland Cup this year, that's an interesting question, isn't it?
Well, it sure
when
is.
You've got Brothers and you've got the Gold Coast on a roll, and West looking fantastic. We've seen them in the last couple of weeks. As Dennis Scott is injured here by the look of it.
Norths are up there as well. One thing for sure, Jerry, I reckon it's been such a good comp. We're going to have the 6 best teams. A lot of times with some injuries and that teams don't sort of quite make it, but the cream is coming to the top.
It certainly is. And now Brothers, knowing that they are on top, but they might be joined if they can't come up with a victory here. That's the 5th tackle, and they're all standing up ready for the kick. And it comes now from Scott Maguire. Jimmy Armat with a bouncing ball, and Semi Tajalala, picked up by Tajalala. So he's 20 out from his own line. Jimmy Armat, Adam Warwick out there. He's by himself now. He's going to try and run around Justin Murphy, so he's certainly got confidence in his own speed, and he's forced into touch.
Well, the 2 young flyers decided to go head-to-head there. Murphy just had the pace to keep with Warwick, and in doing that, threw him into touch. Warwick backed his ability, but that could be a major turning point in the game. Good work from Murphy. And now Brothers with a great chance to try and square this game up.
That was almost a test of ego between the 2 wingers, wasn't it? The young Cowboys here playing the young Broncos, the champions of the future, and 2 of the wingers took each other on.
You can remember that, Warren, can't you? The wingers' egos?
Wingers' egos, yeah, I can't remember being young though.
All right, this time Brothers now in good attack position, but they'll need to get a bit of forward momentum going. Darren Mapp, that is, not being told not to lift the Stingers, were told there. Bit of open space here. They've got extras if they can exploit them, but Walker goes ahead. That's Shane Walker. Quick play the ball. They can still go down the left. And that's the way they go. Berrigan looks back on the inside. Support slips out of 1. I think that may be Heisler. Brett Green straight ahead, he's lost it. Knock back, knocked off the foot, play on. Brothers are there again. They've got it in beside the sticks. The kick is very close as well. And Brothers have got across once more time. I think that may be Brad Thompson. Brad Thompson gets his 2nd. He is strong and powerful, this fellow. And Brothers had a bit of luck. The ball went on the ground twice.
Yes, and there you see Brett Green charging towards the line. Somehow the ball's come loose. The referee there indicating it's come off the leg. Picked up by Brad Thompson. And as we saw earlier, he just showed it. Heaps of determination. Before, he had thrown or was ready to throw the pass to Walker, and in the end had to take on the line. He's got lots of strength, and he does that ideal approach to the line of keeping very low. Here we see it again. Brett Green charging at the line. To ground he goes. The ball comes out. Loose ball. Picked up there by Thompson, and down for a Brothers try. And again, it's 28-26, and here's the conversion. The all-important conversion from Maguire. He's put it through, and it's 28-all with just 7 minutes to go in the match.
I'll tell you what, if Townsville were lucky to get that try awarded in the first half, in the second half, they've had a bit of bad luck. Twice they've been caught offside accidentally. This time the ball's on the ground from Brett Green. A foot from Green knocks it back. Over the top of it goes Shane Walker, and Brad Thompson picks it up for a try. Bit of luck there for Brothers, but they've worked hard to be in that position on the field. What a great run by Brett Green, charging up front there.
And what
a game. Azimus, strong defence from Brothers. He was called out of play. Goodrich, and Townsville surely will take a shot from right in front.
Oh, yes, said Scott Mahon. He didn't waste time. He quickly pointed to the goalpost. So it's an important kick. It's 28 metres out. Well, what are they doing here? Yes, they are going.
There's the tackle, and from an offside position. Well, Tony Maxerd won't endear himself to the local supporters here today. A highly controversial try awarded. And now, with the game locked up at 28-all, a player called inside the 10. So Brothers now will have to stand and watch
David, just on that, I know we're going to argue all day long about that try in the first half, but at the end of the day, you've got to say that Tony Maxud was correct, wasn't it? He was correct in that the ball was down before the corner post went. The touch judge didn't get the sideline.
That's right, and you're right, Warren, and he is allowed to rule on the corner post. But the fact of the matter with the aid of the video was he was actually in touch. Lambert right in front. He's got it! The Stingers in front by 2 points. There's still a ways to go. We've got 5 minutes. I wouldn't leave your TV set. I'd say it'd be a great 5. The Stingers, it'll be a scrum. They want to get players back here for a kick chase. Seconds remaining.
I'll hit that side. Chris Walker and Justin Murphy.
Takiri, if he can offload, there's extras. Throws the dummy back on the inside. Open space to Kiri. There's about 10 players running at him. They were converging like bees to the honeypot.
They've got to keep the ball alive, though. Just 20 seconds left.
Thompson to Walker. Out here to Scott. Good quick moving defence by Townsville. They've got a good chance on the left, but Brothers look like they're out of steam. Maguire. Scott Maguire to Green. They've got to get it on the outside. Back to Maguire. Here's a chance. Throws the dummy back on the inside. Finds Terry O'Regan. O'Regan to Thompson. Thompson up here to Darren Mapp. Mapp breaks a couple. Seconds remaining in the game. There it is. That's the hooter. Townsville have won it. What a game. Congratulations to all concerned. A beauty.
It sure was a terrific win to the Townsville Stingers by 2 points. 30 points to 28. They desperately needed that win, and their desperation has paid in the end. But Brothers certainly made them work for it. A magnificent game of football going right down to the end, and Brothers showing that you just haven't got them beaten until that full-time whistle goes. In the end, though, the Townsville Stingers in 7th place might give themselves a chance of creeping into the top 6 still, and have come up with a victory by 30 points to 28. The statistics of the game, the penalties favouring Brothers very comfortably. The scrums their way. The errors were very even between the two sides. The tackles were even, and the metres gained. Not much difference in that as well. Time in possession favoured Brothers. Time in the opposite half, though, favoured the Stingers. Interesting combination there. The completed sets favoured the Stingers by 7, and that was probably significant. But in the end, it just came down to 2 points, 30 to 28 in favour of the Stingers. The man of the match is Denny Lambert, and he's with Warren Boland.
Denny, you've got to be happy with a win over Brothers like that.
Oh, definitely, yeah. We've form hasn't been so good. We've had a good win last week and keen to keep it going this week, and we did, I thought. It was good to get on top.
How did you feel lining up that penalty goal to put yourselves in front?
Oh, I tried to block it out as much as I could. The boys were pretty good to me. Plenty of confidence, so yeah.
Coming into the game, I suppose you knew it was a must-win. You pretty much had to win today, otherwise you weren't going to make the 6.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every game we've got to treat as a semi or grand final now, and that's how we treated it today. And boys, we got on top, so.
Well done, congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Yes, Denny Lambert, he certainly did play well, and an outstanding performance in the victory by Townsville, and their coach is down on the sideline with David Wright, and that's John Alloway.
John, that's as close to semi-final football as we're going to get.
It was a very good game. I enjoyed it.
It was a beauty. Now, your players, they really hung in there like Brothers came back at you, but you must be very, very confident if you can make the finals. This side's good enough to win it.
Yeah, we've got a very good side, a very young side like Brothers. They're very young, and we had to use the interchange bench fairly regularly today.
Now, Denny Lambert, I was impressed with him today. He had a terrific game, didn't he?
Danny's still at school. He's only 17-year-old.
Is that right?
He definitely has a future.
Yeah, terrific little player. And I thought Ahmed at the back too. The last time we saw him play, he came off the bench, I think, for you guys. Playing at fullback. Has he played much there this year?
No, he hasn't. He's only played, this is only his 3rd game there. He has been playing half and 5'8" and wing for us, but this is his only 2nd or 3rd game.
Yeah, and your skipper, Scott Marnie, had a terrific game. I thought he was there when you needed him, and that's what you want from captains.
Gets better with, just like wine. He's getting better all the time, Scotty Marnie.
And what do you think? What's your next 2 games? You've got 2 games to go. You're obviously a good chance now to make it.
We've got Logan and we've got Ipswich, and based on today's performance, we'd have to be a chance, yes.
John, they played really well. Congratulations. All the best.
Thank you for that.
Yes, John Alloway, the coach of Townsville, and their victory by 30 points to